All right guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm at another location in Texas. We've been moving from hip camp to hip camp, so it's kind of just been a little bit of different ways of traveling. If you guys have not been updated on the channel, I haven't been posting much. We haven't been filming much. I haven't been sharing much. This video hopefully is gonna fill in some of those gaps. I got a few projects on the camper. As we get them done, I'm gonna be showing you a little bit about this camper. This is now my full-time home. I moved into it a few months ago. We still have Navi. Don't worry, the bus is still up north. It's up in the cold, probably snowing right now. Maybe we'll get a shot of that. Maybe we'll just get a shot of snow. But yeah, today I've got a couple projects on the camper. We're gonna update you on a couple things that's going on in my life. Yeah, let's get into it. All right, so project number one is in this box. This is a tow hitch, a class 3 hitch. When I was driving down to Texas from New York, I had a little bit of a problem. The back rack kind of just kind of snapped off. So what I'm gonna do is install a class 3 hitch to then put that on so that it's stronger. We're eventually gonna re-weld that. Don't have a welder right now, so we're just gonna bypass it, maybe cut it off, who knows. But first task is gonna be getting this back rack on because, yeah, I already almost lost it on the highway. So it's an adjustable hitch receiver. We've got our beam, our 2-inch receiver, and then I guess these go on the sides. Something like such. All right, so the back of the RV, the factory bumper, and just attached to one of the bracket mounts that has a 2-inch hitch. It's rated for 500 pounds. We had this back rack on it. Wasn't over 500 pounds, but the factory welds on the camper just decided to shear off. So in spirit of safety, we're going to install a class 3 hitch and we're going to use the actual factory mountings on the RV, which are already there, and hopefully we can get this hitch attached pretty seamlessly into there. The hitch should then stick out about this far. We'll remove all of this, and then that guy can go on the new hitch, and we should be good. I should have known that we were gonna hit a snag like immediately. So the universal trailer class 3 hitch is not universal for my RV, of course. All right, so I've got this upper bracket right here, lower bracket down here. We've got this big old boy right here. And the problem is that that bracket and that bracket are in the way. So I'm gonna eventually have to grind this out, remove this, and then this piece we'll be able to kind of nicely sit on there like that, giving me the ability to get the receiver in and go all the way over to the other side. Only problem is, yeah, I don't have the tools at the moment, so we're gonna move on to something else. Ooh, in the meantime, let me give you a little update on some background of what's been going on with this camper while I get ready to go patch a spot on the roof that got scratched by a tree, so I gotta put a roof patch on. All right, so long story short, I bought this camper about a year ago, actually, to the day, I think, of me filming this video. A time last year, I was just living in Navi with Oakley and just decided I wanted a bit more space. If I was gonna be more permanent on the property, I wanted a bit more width, and the easiest solution to that was an RV. If you guys know my friends Badge and Elle, who've lived in an RV for a very long time, I've been watching them do kind of exactly what I'm doing right now with a double slide 32-foot camper. They just did it for years, towing it with a truck. I really enjoyed watching the way that they were traveling, so I wanted to give it a shot. I wanted a bit more width space in terms of like the slides, just giving me a bit more of a living room feel rather than a galley design. And I'm sure you guys will see that a bit in the backgrounds of the videos, that it just feels like there's more space. Unfortunately, as you can see in this video, I am finding exactly what I expected, which is just the endless problems that you're gonna chase on an RV versus when you build a custom rig yourself from the ground up. You just you've already touched everything. You kind of did it all yourself. You know exactly what you're getting into. So I'm now experiencing the, hey Mike, you did it. You got the camper, you did mostly a renovation, and now you're just kind of doing the little fixes, odds and ends. We've already changed the water heater, the furnace, the water pump, a bunch of plastic connection pieces for the slide doors. We're gonna be replacing the awning. The back rack fell off. We already blew a few tires. I don't know, the list could probably just keep going, and I'm sure there's gonna be videos coming out with like, disaster, this is what happened on the RV this week. But this winter, I'm gonna be traveling. I decided to take the camper south. Wasn't expecting originally to do that, but You know, we're heading down to the southwest. I'm going to be doing some solar installs along the way, so if any of you out there are looking for solar installations, I am a Victron installer, so you guys can reach out to me at the website in the description and see if I have any availability in your area. Besides that, I don't know. Alright, so I found my lap sealant and my RV sealant roof tape. This stuff is like just always have on hand when you own an RV, because there's always going to be a patch or something you have to do. I do plan on filming this winter a bit of the travels, places we stay, tips and tricks about how I'm experiencing living in a really big RV with a truck. So hopefully that might be helpful to some of you out there. You know, I know not everyone's going to be in a manufactured RV. A lot of you guys have been typically building buses and vans, but here's a little bit of a new adventure. This winter it's what we're going to be doing. So if you guys are interested in, you know, seeing any of this stuff, keep an eye out for, you know, future videos. There it is. Well, really quickly while I'm up here, I can show you a little bit about what's already been done. If you've seen a previous video, I installed this County Mod 12 volt AC unit. I've replaced the max fan right there. That was originally in the bathroom. And then I put 2,000 watts on the roof, which is pretty much like obviously the main power input for the solar system. I haven't found a permanent solution for the Starlink yet. When I find one, I will let you know. For now, I just run the wire down and through the window. Not exactly great, but works for now. One of the biggest problems though is when we were backing up in a campground, we found that a tree branch scratched the roof. So I just gotta clean it up, patch it up, and then that'll be solved. You know, fix a leak and show you guys the roof. Kind of nice spot in Texas though. Didn't know they had these kind of spots. All right, I'd say that was pretty super easy. Definitely not a permanent fix. I mean, in the long run, it'd probably be better to actually, like, you know, eventually redo the roof. We're not doing that. But, you know, I'm gonna put some Dicor on it, or not Dicor, I'm gonna put some lap sealant on it, just around the edges to just kind of give it a little extra protection. But that should last. On the side of the road, on the side of the highway, in the middle of a hip camp spot, that is, yeah, definitely the way to do it. I know most school buses and vans, you guys got metal roofs. I used to have a metal roof. Didn't use this kind of like just patchwork stuff, but you know, at least there's something you can use. I'll put the links in the description for these random products too, if you guys want to look into them, just so you have them. Kind of getting back into being a bit of a resource, you know, for everyone. So hopefully, you know, just through my travels and adventures, maybe we're all gonna learn something. All right, a storm's gonna be coming in tomorrow, so I'm glad I got the roof patched. Before we get back to the back bumper, I wanna actually make new jack stands. You see these, oop, right there. These pieces of wood, they angle on both sides with a ratchet strap in between. It creates kind of like a really great support on top of the actual RV feet to keep the actual rig from shaking back and forth. The front ones that I made are too short because I previously had the RV parked at a camp spot that was like this. So like the front ones are really short, back ones are really long. Now we're in a spot where it's fairly level, so I need to make a third set of kind of like a medium length kind of thing, just so I have different options depending on where we're parking. I think this might also be helpful for some of you out there in like school buses or campers. I've never seen it done on a van, but creating these types of triangle supports can really take out a lot of the wobble in the RV. When you're walking around and you're just, you know, moving, RV can get shaken. So we don't want it shaking. We put some triangles in. Triangles always solve the problem, and we're gonna get cutting. So if you look, this one just goes from the upper frame rail all the way down to the ground, and then the ratchet strap goes all the way across to another one, and then that keeps the RV from shaking like this because it's supported on both sides with tension in the middle. All right, in order to make them, you only need a 2x4. I already marked my distance, which is 45 inches. And then we've got our little eye bolts. I got, what are these? 3/8 by 5 inch. Got some washers, got some nuts. And then all we're gonna do is cut this, drill a hole, put the eye bolt through, and then connect it with a ratchet strap. Only quick thing I'll mention is in order to get the distance, I told you mine are gonna be 45 inches. The way that I came up with that number was I measured from the top of the beam at the wheel well to the ground, and then you make a triangle, and then good old Pythagoras, get the distance in between, and I came up with 45 inches. So 45 inches is gonna be my angle to kind of correctly get the average slope of the camper being level, and that's what most of the time I'm gonna need. Like I said before, I'm gonna have 2 sets at 45 inches, and then the other set is like a shorter, I think that one's like 23 or something for like special use cases, and that should take the stabilization of the camper in any situation of going like this. It really works. It's really nice to have. as we can see, we've got these shorter ones and longer ones. Obviously, the shorter ones don't go all the way up, whereas these guys, we can get, the one doesn't even go up to the top, the other one goes all the way to the top, and then we get a better angle to the bottom. Then we're just gonna take a ratchet strap, go from here to the other side, tighten it up, and then we should be good to go. Now that's complete together. I mean, I've got one set in the front, one set in the back, and now the camper with the jacks down, the front tongue down, the tires are stabilized, and we got these two systems in. Yeah, the camper, it doesn't really even move. It's very windy up here on this hilltop. I'm sure you've noticed in some of the audio. The audio is just kind of sometimes pretty windy. The camper doesn't even move when you have these things to stabilize. They're real easy to remove. I'm imagining, I've never tried it, but if you had a school bus or something, I'm pretty sure you could probably make a set of these and like put them up against the center frame rail. They would just probably be a lot bigger. Never tried it before. Might try it next summer when I get back home. If someone out there wants to try it, let me know in the comments. If not, definitely works for an RV. All right, I think at this point I'm gonna try to get back to that back rack. I'm gonna maybe run to the store or just start digging through these boxes to find the grinders. But yeah, we gotta cut that back rail off and then drill some holes, get the bolts put in. This is gonna be the big job. All right, I got the grinder. It's time to try to start getting this back rack off. There is no way to do this nicely. It's literally just take this grinder and just remove all of those parts. Lots of grinding, lots of noise, lots of sparks. Let's try to not catch anything on fire. Let's try to do it as cleanly as possible and no injuries. We got the brackets cut out and there's no more bump or anything. You can see it's got some like clean spaces on both sides now. Just have to hook the propane line back up that I disconnected hanging off. But what I realized was, I think this thing's gonna hang too low. So now that we, oh man, this is heavy. All right, so now that we have this on, you can kind of see like, for it to properly hang on the bracket, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like where my hand is right now, which is way too close to the ground. So I think we're gonna ditch these brackets, and this beam is already the perfect fit to go in between this beam and that beam. And I think I'm just gonna put it right up there into the old steel plate and just go get a welder, and we're just gonna weld it in. It does mean I can't finish the job today. I'm gonna have to finish another day, but that's okay. I mean, it's not a big deal. We'll just go find a welder and then we can get this guy done. But yeah, I just have to store the stuff for the next trip while we're inside when I go to the store. Next time we stop at our next camping spot, pull out the welder, put this guy in, finish this job up, and we should be good to go. For now, we just, you know, at least we're safe driving. Like we don't have like a bumper hanging. All right, one last task since we can't get the back rack done is gonna be painting this trim in here. I need to get this trim painted so I can caulk and get it done. And in the meantime, I can also show you the solar system that I installed. I also have to put some parts in. So get some parts in, do a little bit of painting for the future, and then I think that's gonna pretty much wrap up the day. Ooh. All right. So now that we got the couch moved, got it somewhat covered, we'll paint one side, then the other, move it. I don't have that many like paint blankets. But I've got to get this ceiling panel, this thing painted all the way through to the front. Never finished it, didn't really have a chance before I hit the road. And that also gives me an opportunity to get down here into the solar system. I've got to add one part for the 50 amp input, and I can also just kind of give you guys a quick little look. So we've got 5 280 amp hour batteries sitting in there. Here's the 50 amp that I have to finish for the input off the shore power. I've got my links, which the cover is right there. I just got to finish putting the links on. Then I got to finish this 50 amp wiring. Just have to get the wire inputted into here, finish programming this guy, and then underneath there you can see all the other solar components. You can kind of come from the outside, open this up, and you can see a lot better. We've got 2 30 amp Orions and then 2 MPPTs right over there wired in. So we've got the entire system kind of like tucked away in this cabinet. Nice thing about the solar being up in the front is it adds quite a bit of tongue weight to the camper, which definitely makes this thing ride a lot nicer. Also, it's just these front 2 vents, which are no longer used. They used to be underneath like a bed. And now I can use them for air venting, so when I'm charging or pulling a lot of power, I can open up those side vents and it lets air just flow completely through this cabinet, which cools everything down. I will say that if anyone out there is interested, I am traveling this winter, so if you want a solar install, you guys can check out the website down in the description. And if you're in the East Coast, I will be back in the Northeast. Shop installs start April, so if anyone's interested in getting a system installed in their bus, van, camper, RV, just contact me through the link in the description. All right, with the ceiling painted, all I've got to finish up is some of the solar stuff, but like they've always say, the cobbler's shoes, or the cobbler's kids never have their shoes, or they never have shoes, or you guys know the phrase. Pretty much the solar guy's solar's never done. That's probably not going to change much. So I will have to dig back into that cabinet, but in this video, I'm glad I was able to give you guys a bit of an update, show you a couple things that are going wrong in the camper. I'm sure there'll be another video about things that are going wrong in the camper, but you know, every day's moving forward. If you guys are interested in a solar install, make sure you guys check out the link in the description. If not, I'll see you in the next one.